Hi everyone, this is Andrew Heat, lead developer on this little game, Strafe, Pacific Strafe. I developed it with a friend of mine, Tim Opie. Been working on it for a couple of years. I've developed the engine from scratch. The game itself uses SharpDX and C Sharp, and hoping to release the next few months a beta just to demonstrate the game. This video just talks about various concepts and principles of the game and where it came from and what the ideas were. This game, firstly, it was a brainchild a long time ago, when I used to play a game called Raid on Bungling Bay. That game was a helicopter game written by Will Wright, who wrote The Sims and a few other games, so he's pretty famous. And I also love 1942, so I basically mashed these two ideas together into a semi-RPG slash strategy slash arcade type game. Now, the first level I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about is just the training level for the game. Training level is pretty elementary. In fact, most people are going to find it rather boring and bland, but in case of this game, it's really important to assist those who aren't used to these concepts in game to see it in action and see what controls. Now, I'll just quickly go through this part. There's no action, so it's going to be a bit bland and a bit dry, but it can show you all the little actions and mechanisms that you can have at your disposal. So there's a large map that you can also view, which is actually going to be very handy in the game. It's still a work in progress. It will show up objectives, and you can see in-game there's a whole bunch of prompts telling you various things. One of the concepts is to ensure that the player knows what they've got to do at any one moment in time, because the game can be very big, the maps can be very sizable, and you don't want people getting lost or getting bored and then throwing the towel in. Now, it's an arcade game, so you can imagine the levels aren't going to be huge in terms of time spent. One level I've got here is probably only a couple of minutes worth of gameplay. I've even got a developer level which takes a couple of minutes, and then one of the main levels will show at the very end. It can take probably 8 to 10 minutes, so if I was to put 10 or 12 levels together, it's just maybe a 2 or 3 hour game for someone who really had a go at the game. Now, there's some unimplemented concepts that I'll talk about also as we go along. Of interest will be, well, you can have upgrades. Obviously in this video I haven't shown too many, but there's planes flying around with a couple of upgrades already installed. So it makes them a little bit more lethal and makes the game seem a little bit simpler and easier at the moment. I've also, in this demo, not shown you the planes that you can access, which is the P-38 and the P-51, which have different roles in game. And it'd be good to see, in later videos when I demonstrate that they have different roles that can basically make the game easier or harder. So you can, if you want to clear the skies of enemy planes, you can use a Warhawk, or if you want to use a P-38 to blow up ground targets, you can use that, which gives you lots more bombs and everything. Now we're going past in this is just the development level that we're talking about right now. This level just basically has all the little mechanics in it to test various things to make sure that the game is still working as expected. At the moment you can see it flying over, blowing up artillery, blowing up planes. These things have some significance, especially artillery, because the main principle of this game and objective is to guide your friendly tanks to their destinations and capture the objectives to finish the level. So it's a little bit like Choplifter and a few other things where basically you've got to escort your own assets. Now you'll actually run into a few different enemies in the game. Of course, you're going to see massive battleships. This is just one example of a battleship. It's a cruiser, very simple one. Articulated guns, fires a lot at you. If you stay straight, you're going to get your head blown off. Now we're going to go on. There's a few other planes. There's the Vals, which have backfire. You've got Zeros that are taking off as well. They're single seat. They're pretty nimble. They can do some acrobatics. They can avoid you a little bit. It's not completely unfair. They don't do it very often. And you also have enemy bombers, which hopefully we'll see in this demo as well. There will be other planes as well, but at the moment the game is still in development. Content is basically the last thing I'm going to put in. I just got to get the mechanics working. Now there's upgrades, and you're going to see this upgrade, which is a bullet upgrade. Now, yeah, you're going to start spamming a lot of bullets. You're going to blow things up pretty quickly. In fact, here comes a bomber, he's going to die very quickly. So, you can see the benefits of power-ups. These are the power-ups like armor, power-ups for repairing quickly, because you won't die instantly if you get shot. You actually have to take an amount of damage before you die. You can see up top the progression of the tank, who's actually stopped because he's actually in combat. So when he goes yellow or red, it means it's either a permanent stop or something that's temporarily blocking him. So the artillery would actually cause it to be a permanent block if you had to stop permanently, but he's fighting a tank, so eventually you'll defeat that. The way it is, that you just basically got to do things in a timer. Your tank at this moment in time does not die, and that's pretty much the level. Pretty simple, eh? This one's a little bit more complicated. This is Wake Island. This Wake Island actually has 2 tanks that you have to escort in 2 different thrusts across the island. You only have to get one to the objective, but it's actually more fun to actually be able to progress them and keep them going. So this is just me doing an initial tack run on the island. I've done this a bit too many times, obviously over 2 or 3 years you get to know everything. This level was the first thing I developed when I started the game. So you can see there's enemy gun emplacements you're taking out. There's artillery there. They actually stop the tank from progressing, and you'll see why I'm continually attacking and blowing them up. I'm just trying to short circuit the level at the moment in time, otherwise the tanks would actually stop and they'd be signalling to you to go and attack them. The HUD would actually highlight where the targets are as well, so it actually helps the player as well. You see enemy tanks moving in to protect the area, so they'll actually make their way and match up against your tanks and hold them up. So eventually I'm hoping to have timers as well, so you actually are pushed to assist more. You can see the number of planes coming out of nowhere. It's a bit crazy at the moment, but it's not too bad. Alright, so we're just going to do a few tack runs. We're going to blow up a few things, and pretty much that's this level. It gets a bit crazy. You can see it's pretty big. There's a few things that are a little bit repetitive in terms of the shorelines and stuff like that. I've got to get that done. The game's constantly in development. The only other thing you obviously see I've done it multiple times is acrobatics. So you have special moves to avoid the enemy when you're getting tracked. So rather than do endless loops around, circling around trying to get behind them, you can actually do things like this. You either use the clouds, which actually temporarily hide you from the enemy and they can't follow you. There's not much else I can show you at this moment in time. There's a few other little bits and pieces I can go in other videos, but for now I think this was actually just an initial demo of what the game's up to at this moment in time, and hope you enjoy.